Hey, so here is my plan for Friday. I'll put this in the email, but I've got on my calendar 2 to 3:30. Does that sound right? Let me know if it's otherwise. Uh, we'll start off by a synecdoche just as an activator to get people thinking and talking. And then I like setting the foundation and the groundwork with a lot of, like, when I first go out to districts to do AI stuff around, like, what does good teaching with ed tech mean? And so we'll spend a little bit of time with that, going over the SAMR framework, which is typically new to people, but some of your teachers or you might have experience with this. But we will dig in. Very rarely do I go into a room where everybody knows what this is and everybody has been talking about it a ton. So if that's the case, we'll pivot, but we'll spend a little bit of time talking about SAMR, which is just my favorite framework for ed tech integration. And what that means, a little bit of interaction with that, and then we'll dig into AI. So that'll be probably the first 10 minutes, and then we're going to get right in there. And so I just got a little activity that people can engage in. This will be phone or computer that people can mess around with. And then just some definitions of what AI is and large language models, some grounding in the skills that are most beneficial for using AI and what that means. And again, this is really setting the tone for like what how do we leverage AI without sacrificing the human element in our classrooms, which is really important. And then we'll get into large language models themselves, where the rest of the time is hands-on playtime with some like structure and guidance and stuff in this. So we'll go over some of the big LLMs, large language models, but I'm going to frame everything I do through ChatGPT because it's the one that people typically know the most about, or the one that they have at least heard the most about. It's the one I have the most experience with. So I just kind of stay in my comfort zone with there. But I encourage people to pick any one of the large language models that are out there and explore and play, especially if they're experienced users with this platform. So then just some extended playtime, 10 minutes or so. I don't like the border on that. That's better. So it doesn't matter. Why am I doing this right now? Why am I doing this right now? It's bugging me. Then just we'll start to get into some prompt engineering. So this will be like go, play, I walk around, facilitate, listen. People get to kind of move at their own speed. I can do some hands-on one-on-one support. I can push people, learn from people, and then we do some whole group share out. I encourage people to try one of these if they're in it a little bit and just kind of take themselves in a different direction. And then we talk about prompt engineering, which is just how you leverage a large language model to get it to do what you want it to do, just using the comparison between search engines, and then some specific instruction around large language model prompt engineering. So this is some stuff directly from OpenAI that I've been going through with people, and then this just prompting 101 stuff. It's actually typically around this point. I haven't edited in. I'll go do it right now. So just prompting, and then it's kind of like playing with prompting, and that just takes practice and it just takes time. So I like to give people some extended time to do that, where I can walk around, we can share, we can collaborate, just some of that informal collaboration. Then I give some more robust prompts for people to play around with, and this is typically where we start to run out of time. Just depends on how talkative and interactive people are with this, but this typically brings us up to about 90 minutes with these final two. But if there's extra time or more time, then I've got plenty of stuff kind of ready to go. So some bigger prompts for people to play with and just experiment and start to apply this to their own settings and just think and have their minds take them in different directions. Then people always ask about the paid version or some like heavy hitter things that are like really good. So I've got a couple of these things that are just kind of like wow, and something that like every teacher can be using because its translation is very, very good for a lot of languages. And then this is kind of tossed in here just in case. I like showing people, like we've talked about large language models, and then there's a bunch of other AI tools out there, which is kind of what I was thinking of doing in the second. It's like, let's dig into some different tools, talk about ethics and application, and some student use maybe. But Notebook LM is one of those really great ways to start digging into a more very specific AI tool, and then I'll just elicit some feedback and some goal setting before the next, because I get to be out there 2 weeks in a row, which is super fun. So the other thing, actually, let me pause the video real quick so you don't have to sit here and watch me search for it. So the other thing that I will make a point to like at least hit on, if not like spend some time with, are these ethics pieces here. So people always ask kind of some of these big questions around plagiarism and personally identifying information and all that stuff. So there are no good answers to that right now. is the actual answer. So there's a lot of information out there, but none of it has been like super researched or fact based. It's a lot of people are figuring things out in the Wild West here. So these are the big tent poles that I have kind of honed over the last like year and a half or so, just around using AI responsibly and then thinking about bias and then always keeping the human at the center of the work. So we'll go with that before we dip into any other sort of AI tools. And then the second time around, May 2nd, I'll put those slides together over the course of the next week or so. But I'm thinking doing an activity where people are thinking about like appropriate use and when that's okay, and having some of those conversations around policy and student use and plagiarism is kind of tackling that one a little bit, just dipping our toes in because that question always comes up the second time around, and then some extended time with tools. So there's a bunch of tools out there that are really good to dig into: Colleague AI, School AI, Magic School, Poe. Like there's a lot of AI tools that can just be super good and very hyper specific, and people can kind of find their niche in there. So this first time will be very much an intro to AI, and the second time will be like the next step where we're just playing, we're hands on, we're creating. So all right, let me know what you think. And 2 to 3:30 on Friday. Let me know if that's the right time.